Okay, just going to do a straight install. No options right there. There's really not too many options to change on this. Just to let you know, we're doing this in VirtualBox just because I don't have a way of doing a screen share on an actual simple computer while we're doing the installation. I'm going to go ahead and accept yes, install Pfsense. Everything's going to be the default pretty much. Default key map, yes, yes, automatic, yes, we're going to install, no redundancy, just a single disk. We'll check the box right here for using the single hard drive. Yes, I definitely want to do the installation on that drive. And now I'll be back in just a minute when this is done. Okay, as you can see, we're back now. The installation is done. We're going to go ahead and restart this computer. Now, once this comes up, we've done the basic installation. Once this comes up, we're going to have two more steps to do. One, we're going to have to assign IP addresses to the external interface, which is the WAN, and the internal interface, which is part of the network that we're going to be building. That's going to be the LAN. So once this comes up, we're going to set the IP addresses. Once that's done, the last step is to assign the interfaces to a WAN and a LAN and make sure that those are correct. And once that's done, that's it. We can go on to building the rest of our network. Okay, as you can see, we're back up and the machine has fully booted. We're at this screen, which is typical, and it's showing us we have a WAN with an IP address and a LAN with an IP address. Now, they're both the same, so what we're going to do is we're going to configure these differently. The WAN we're going to make into a static IP address, which is somewhat typical for a lot of internet service providers. Some of you may have DHCP, some may be static. We're going to go with static. The LAN we're going to change to 10.0.0. something. So let's go ahead and change that first IP address on the WAN side, and that's going to be option number 2. So we're going to choose interface, and we're going to go with option 1 for changing the WAN. DHCP, the answer here is going to be no. We're going to go with a static IP address. We're going to change that to 192.168.1.20. Now the subnet mask is going to be a 24-bit subnet mask for this installation. For you, it might be a 30 or a 29-bit. You're just going to have to check it with your ISP if it's not DHCP. Now for a default gateway, I'm going to choose the internal router for me, which is 1.1. And we're going to leave version 6, IPv6 as DHCP. We're not going to use that. HTTP is definitely what we're going to be using to configure this later. And it's applying those changes. The last step is to change the internal IP address to something more appropriate. And that's going to be with option 2 as well. Then we're going to change, again, option 2, this time for the LAN. And this is going to be 10.0.0.1. And all of our computers on our network are going to be 10.0.0. something. Again, 24-bit mask. We can explain that at a later date. And the LAN side is not going to have a default gateway. Every machine only has one. Our router is no different, and the default gateway is on the external WAN address. We're going to have no v6. And yeah, we do want to have a DHCP server. We want the rest of our network to automatically get IP addresses. So here, we're going to say our addresses are going to start at 200 to 250. And now we're all set. And as you can see, once we get done with this, we're going to point our browser to 10.0.0.1 from an internal machine, and we can manage our firewall. First thing we're going to do is take a backup. So we're all set, and we'll move on with the video when we're ready to build our first machines.